Hi. Oftentimes it's nice to have a good option for breakfast besides eggs. I can't tell you how many times people say, I'm so tired of eggs for breakfast, what can I have? Well, we're going to go with a classic breakfast food today. We're going to make gravy. Yes, that's what she said, gravy. There are different flavors you can make. We're going to make a sausage gravy. You could also make this a bacon gravy. You could do a country ham gravy. But we're going to do sausage gravy because that's a favorite in my house. And of course we make low-carb biscuits to go with it, but that's another video. So what I've done is I've browned 1 pound of sausage. Just use whatever your favorite low-carb sausage is. You can do ground pork and use your own spices if you'd like. But I used Jimmy Dean sausage. Here in the South, we like Mises sausage, and most of the time, that's fairly low carb. So I've got it nice and brown and crumbled. You can see it's all crumbled. To this, I'm going to add 8 ounces of cream cheese, and I've taken it and tried to cube it up a little bit, and we're just going to add it to the sausage. Right into the pan it goes. I'm using Trader Joe's cream cheese. Remember that Philadelphia has changed its formula, and its cream cheese now, it has 2 carbs per serving. So I like to use Trader Joe's. Organic Valley is another great brand to use with 1 carb. The issue is that, Organic Valley is wonderful, but it is generally more expensive. It's about $3 for 8 ounces, where Trader Joe's in our area runs about $1.69, so it's less expensive. So the cream cheese is going to melt, and I don't want the heat on too high. You're going to stir it around. While it melts, you can add in a cup of cream. Now this is a cup of heavy cream, and we've talked about in the past, heavy cream has a higher milk fat than heavy whipping cream. And so I prefer to use heavy cream when I can find it. Not everybody can find it. Use what you can find, but heavy cream is about 35–36% milk fat, whereas just cream, heavy whipping cream rather, is closer to 30 to 32% milk fat. Okay, so that's gonna, I don't want it to boil, so I'm gonna turn it down. Just let that simmer around till the cream cheese is nice and melty. And get the heat a little too low. We're gonna add to this some seasonings. Now, use whatever favorite seasonings you like. I'm going to use some garlic powder, and this is a teaspoon of garlic powder that I'm going to add. If that's too much for you, do a ½ teaspoon and then add from there. Again, I'm using about 1 pound of ground sausage, and I'm actually going to use a little less, I think, than a teaspoon, even though I measured a teaspoon out. It just doesn't look right to me. And then this is onion. Now, you can use onion powder, you can use onion juice, or you can forgo the onion altogether. But I'm going to add a teaspoon of onion. I'm using dehydrated onion. I like to use that because as the onion rehydrates, it absorbs the fat. So as the onion rehydrates, it absorbs fat, which is a good thing. We want to capture as much of the fat as we can. Now keep in mind that I put a full cup of heavy cream. If it's too thick for you, you can add additional cream to thin it down. Now, if I had a chance to let you taste this, it should be tasting pretty good about now. I'm going to add some cracked black pepper before I serve it to my family, but it's also very light in color. And one of the ways that we brown gravies is the flour, and we can't put flour in this and have it low carb. So as I was making gravy, this sausage gravy one Saturday morning, a weekend breakfast, I decided that I could add a depth of flavor and get some color by using instant coffee. Now, before you turn your nose up at that, it actually is really, really good, and no one tastes the coffee. I had made this for a family who was here and for guests that we had, and honestly, everybody was just amazed. Everybody wanted the recipe, and of course, I had not written anything down. This is a tablespoon of instant coffee, not a teaspoon, but a tablespoon. No one knew there was coffee in it until I told them, and it was a hit. And so I'm going to stir this around. I may have to thin it with a little more heavy cream because it is really thick. I'm going to put some more, or some cracked black pepper. We love cracked black pepper on our sausage gravy. And it's almost done. All you're going to do is simmer this up. I'm going to add about a 1/4 cup more of heavy cream. So you can see what I'm doing. Just to thin it out a bit. And you can make it as thin or as thick as you'd like. You could also use some bone broth to thin it, and that would give it a great flavor. If you don't want to try the coffee, you can use a bouillon cube. This is beef bouillon. I'm not going to use it because I have the coffee in there. And I don't know if my video quality is good enough for you to see, but adding the coffee gives it a really nice brown flavor. And it really is fantastic. So I'm just going to stir that around, let it simmer, and after a couple good stirs, this gravy is going to be ready for a nice hot biscuit. I hope you will be too.